Chapter 7, Episode 13. The Root of Nothingness. Despite the darkness, someone sprinted toward Thelma. Right after that, Thelma noticed something strange. When you look at the world through the eye, your field of vision enters a world like augmented reality. Someone coming toward us was detected as a single point of light, but it was going straight as it entered the bedrock. I don't know where the investigating eye's light resides. A person. Or something else. To see the characteristics of the enemy, Thelma set a trap on the spot and waited. Aim for the moment when someone jumps out of the cave wall and create an iron wall to block his path. If it seems to penetrate this, it will be quite troublesome. It seems that someone heard the noise and suddenly stopped in the bedrock, then penetrated the iron wall, as if taking Thelma's back, and came out of the wall. Thelma jumped forward without looking back and held a gap, then finally turned around and established his true identity. The other party was a black-haired girl with distinctive tattoos on her brown skin and a sharp glint in her eyes. Thelma held her breath in the face of this strange atmosphere. Girl. Human? Do you have a personality similar to mine? As if not wanting to give Thelma a chance to think, she took the staff in her hand and shouted something. Exclamation. As if in response to her call, a sound rang out from the mural behind Thelma. The abstract paintings on the opposite side of the wall materialized one after another, all attacking him at once. I see. So it will attack with its physical form. As soon as the spirit generated from the mural materialized, it became a mass of flesh and continued to multiply, filling the space and forming a mass in no time, blocking the cave. Don't grow like a malignant tumor. Low differentiation seems to be problematic for both tumors and ghosts. Even as she watched Thelma, the girl's fingers continued to move, prompting the materialized spirit in a single burst. However, the attacks of the spirits of the unimaginable did not cause much harm to Thelma, and even if the spirits materialized, it would not be much different from being attacked by humans or animals. Since Thelma does not accept physical attacks, these attacks are also nullified. It only makes sense to strike an object against an object and a spirit against a spirit. Thelma was on the verge of being overwhelmed by its speed, but gradually regained his composure and mused as if trying to teach it to himself. If it materializes, the laws of physics can handle it. Erase the silicon. Thelma turned his head and swung his right hand sideways. And the spirit that materialized from the wall could not maintain its form as the core of its structure. The silicon escaped the girl's control and dissolved. She stared at Thelma's hands as he unleashed divine arts with his bare hands while shrouded in dim light. This child. Are you trying to analyze my abilities? After a short while, her gaze was glued to Thelma's shoulder. Did you notice the Yakujan crest? I have a bad feeling about it. It may have a similar ability to the diagnostic eye. Thelma, who had such intuition, felt that he shouldn't give her too much time to think. Just when he was undecided about his next move, her figure melted into the ground. In the next instant, the girl's staff emerged from the ground directly behind Thelma and penetrated perfectly around Thelma's heart. Thelma, sensing her clear murderous intent, increased his vigilance even more against her. Do you have murderous intentions? Thelma grabbed her piercing stick and robbed her by pulling it out of her body. Without Thelma, it would have been fatal and the match would have been decided. But it didn't. A fearful expression appeared in the girl's eyes. This is a non-human that is ineffective against physical attacks and kills spirits. I am sure you have never encountered such an opponent, so I will retreat before being analyzed. In the darkness, Thelma's body, which had passed divine power through the staff of the medicine gods, was accompanied by a faint light. I will take this wand. For a user of divine art, the wand is nothing less than divine art itself. The wand that the girl held even during the fight should be considered as an aid to amplify and activate her strange powers, just like that of a divine art user. After her staff was taken away from her, she stopped attacking Thelma, lost her balance and fell to her knees. At the same time, a dark shadow of her that had never existed before fell under her. It is the same as mine. Was it only semi-material when you got the staff? She pretends to stagger and immediately presses her right hand to the floor. I'm still trying to summon spirits. Still doing it. Falma didn't miss and spread an iron plate on the floor while creating and erasing matter with a series of actions to prevent further summons. Falma took the middle finger of her left hand, which was hovering in the air, and slowly bent it to her elbow. That's all, but she was easily neutralized. She seemed most surprised because it was a trivial action. With such a small movement you can incapacitate a person without using force. Falma spoke to her in a calm voice. It should be painful enough, so I only used a moderate amount of force. Even if the goal is not to incite hatred, I don't think reconciliation is possible either. It may be a little disturbing, but I want you to listen to me. However, she did not lose her rebellious spirit and continued to shower Falma with invective. I'll make this short. Do you know this girl? Falma took out the notebook he had tucked in his breast pocket, pulled out the photo it contained, and placed it on the iron plate. Clara can be seen in the group photo of the sailors as they set sail. Can you see me? I've been looking for this girl and I know she's here. She turned her attention to Clara's photo and moved her face a little closer to examine it. You look like you know each other. Falma looked at her face and concluded. She turned her face away as if she hated Falma's look. I'll bring her back. She's a non-combatant and I see no reason why she should be kidnapped. Okay. Immediately after Falma asked the question, a large number of people with relit torches rushed toward us through the corridor of the cave. What jumped into their eyes was the figure of a boy of about the same height who was subduing the girl. It seemed as if he could not judge her. They hold their weapons ready and observe the situation. Don't come. Honestly, I do not want to fight with anyone. Falma used the material creation to create a wall of ice in the cave and a wall between them. While examining Clara's whereabouts, she untied the girl's buns, and the girl grabbed Falma and tried to strangle her. With a smooth movement, Falma slipped through her arm. At the same time, she lost her balance and fell to the ground, unable to move. Falma left everyone in place and disappeared into the rocks, as if melting into the dense fog. Falma located Clara's whereabouts and charged through the walls of the cave just like the girl before. That's good. I should have done this from the beginning. It's a good idea. Arriving at Clara's location by the shortest route, the place she was thrust into was a prison-like place with iron bars dug out of a cave. Carefully the entrance is barricaded with furniture and other objects. Falma appeared from the prison where Clara was, but I couldn't see the exterior of the prison well from here. It's a custom-built structure. If there's a barricade, it's a blind spot for the guards. Besides, as long as you don't make any noise. Falma thought it would be a problem if he suddenly appeared and made Clara scream, and appeared inside the wall while blocking Clara's mouth from behind. As Clara cried out and swallowed the air, perhaps in a slight panic, she bit her finger with tremendous force. No matter how much I chew, it has no effect on Falma and it doesn't hurt or itch. Falma was somewhat impressed by the boldness of the counterattack. It's amazing. It's strong enough to bite your finger off. It's reliable. Clara continues to act violently, but Falma suppresses it and tells her in a low voice. Clara-san, don't speak. Clara, who had apparently noticed that the monster that appeared from behind was Falma, showed some confusion. Hey, is it real? A fake with a picture. It's real. Well, how can I believe you? Oh, yes. Did the seasickness medicine work? Hearing the information that only Falma knew, Clara seemed to believe it, though she was half in doubt. That medicine seems to have worked well. Although I answered with tears in my eyes, she still felt uncomfortable and tilted her head. If you mean, maybe it's Yakushi-sama. Clara was at a loss for words. And where are you coming from now? Rocks behind you and bars and barricades in front of you? Suspiciously, she tilted her head a step further. Well, I entered this prison through the gap. Where is the gap? No, look, I passed because I have a slender figure. Falma said something unnecessarily. Doesn't it look like I'm fat? I'm thinner. Falma, not knowing how to apologize, put on an amiable smile. Clara suddenly comes to her senses. If you really are Yakushi-sama, then my fortune-telling was right. I had a feeling that I would see you again on this continent. Well, you hit the mark. Your prophecy is amazingly accurate. As he said this, Falma made a complicated expression. You've come so far. My heart is full. Are you all safe? I was the only one brought here. What happened to the others? Perhaps nervous after asking about their safety, Clara closed her eyes tightly. I just saved them. Everyone should be safe. To be exact, Noah was not found, but I won't tell Clara for now because I will worry her. Clara heaved a big sigh of relief. I should have known this, but I am filled with regret and gratitude that this happened. From the beginning I should have been stronger and stopped sailing before it became irreversible. I should have gotten it, but I didn't have enough sense of danger. Clara deeply expressed her complicated feelings along with the gratitude. I also lacked a sense of crisis and future prospects. Falma accepts her feelings. I don't believe that destiny is fixed. Every future is something you can choose from a variety of options. Because of the interaction of the universe, this time it became this situation. Much less. You have nothing to apologize for. Falma looked around because Clara was looking down. I wonder if this area is made of limestone. Then put out the calcium carbonate. Falma raised his right hand to the ceiling, and while Clara was looking down, he tried to create a larger hole by erasing some of the main components of the limestone cave. But just as he was trying to concentrate, Clara stopped Falma. Yakushi-sama. Did you meet a girl named Maline before you came here? She's a girl with long black hair and a tattoo on her shoulder. I may have met him, but it was dark and I didn't really know what he looked like. I don't even know his name. I had seen many men and women before I entered the cave, but I didn't pay much attention to anyone's appearance. Then she is a very strong girl among them. Just now I met a strong-willed girl. Falma even regrets a little time. That's why I cannot escape. Why? Help denied. Falma feels puzzled. Well, this child is particularly skilled at manipulating spirits and uses the power of the spirits to turn images into reality and attack them. I'm sorry, I can't explain it very well. Clara can't seem to catch up with the vocabulary of the explanation and is nervous. Oh, is the child safe? As Clara approached with an exasperated look on her face, Falma broke out in a cold sweat, thinking that he had done something wrong. I think it's safe, but what does that mean? Why should I care about her? Falma couldn't understand his intentions. I was put under a strong curse by that child. This child. Her name is Maline, but if something were to happen to this child, I would probably die as a person who is partly responsible. Therefore, even if I am free, I will still be a prisoner of war, or rather, I won't be able to escape. Clara fidgets and moves her fingertips together and apart. He must be embarrassed that he stepped on a mistake. As Falma let his gaze roam over Clara's body, there was something of a curl around her neckline. This is similar to the one Juliana was attached to. Falma remembered the coat of arms of the holy curse given to Juliana, who was once a cardinal priestess by the Great Temple. Thanks to reading the literature in the Great Temple, Falma was able to gather knowledge about mysterious phenomena and curses. Curses, the one with the neck. Falma clamped the staff of the medicine god under his arm and with his free hand dropped the liquid medicine from the vial in Clara's hand. It is the rest of the divine medicine, the current divine medicine that was just created earlier. When she hits this divine medicine, she becomes immortal for a day no matter what, so there are no more people who can harm Clara. This should have put the curse on hold for now. Is that like an antidote? Clara asked as she rubbed the liquid medicine into her hands like ant gel. Is it? It was good. Yeah, that's what you said. I don't understand the language, so I didn't know it was that kind of character. That's where Falma got stuck. Do Clara-san and the child Maline understand each other? Can she actually speak the language of the Empire? So Clara briefly told Falma about the circumstances after she was kidnapped. I see. Malene was unaware of Clara's precognitive abilities and only Clara San was captured. So you were able to communicate with a child named Malene through a ghost, weren't you? That's right. As far as I remember, she tried tirelessly to summon spirits from underground or from cave walls. Was it trying to communicate through spirits, not to attack? Falma, seeing this opportunity as a sign to counterattack, had completely destroyed it. I did something wrong. Cross-cultural communication failed on the first try. Falma's chest hurt. Yakushi-sama, have you had enough of this anti-curse medicine for everyone on the expedition except me? Everyone. I fell into a lake called Lake Titicaca that Malene says, and they say I was cursed with death because of it. That's right. If that's the case, I just heard it from the expedition team. What should we do? Everyone's life is in danger. Clara panicked as if remembering. If that's the case, I've already started treatment, so there's no problem. Are you a prophet, Yakushi-sama? You're the one who found the medicine that works against the curse of the cursed lake. Isn't that a bit too much of a god? No, that's not my job, that's the merit of a child who is unusually well prepared for a journey. Falma tells while remembering Ellen's proud face. I'm glad. I'm relieved. I wonder if the girl named Malene has a grudge against the expedition team and Clara San and the others. From their point of view, the expedition group came from the sea, and they didn't seem to understand the language, and they didn't know the intruder's intention. When we first landed, the priests and users of divine arts threw divine purification arts all over the land to ensure safety. But even if the evil spirits disappear, is there any problem? You can live safely, right? Falma asked if it was more of a good deed. Unlike our continent, we have a culture that values spirits, and it seems that the spirits of our ancestors that were valued by the clan have disappeared because of the purification magic. What is this? The spirits of those precious ancestors have disappeared, and it seems that Malene and everyone else on this continent cannot hold back their anger. Falma almost held his head. Even he can't distinguish between evil spirits and other things, but from the point of view of Malene and the others, the existence of the expedition will probably do much harm and no good. And am I also to blame? Since there was a sanctuary near Falma, he would have unintentionally played a role in the exorcism, although he visited the continent for preliminary inspection and hurried to save it. Let's escape from here for now. This is no different from locking us both up. Then let's think about our future policy. Falma again reached out his right hand to remove the calcium carbonate along with the bedrock in the area and open a hole. However, there is no sense of divine power flowing through the crest of the medicine god as usual from another world. Falma startled and touched his right shoulder. Did not. There was no medical crest that shone pale and pulsating as it gave Falma the gift of the medical deity. Falma's whole body seemed to stiffen. Reflexively, I explored the emblem of the medicine god on my left arm, but nothing was right here. Falma meditated with a feeling that made his spine stiffen. Generate sodium chloride. As expected, white powder appears on Falma's left hand. It is proof that matter generation can still be used whether it is sodium chloride or not. Normally, it would be possible to identify the synthesized substance by substance elimination, but this lost the method to confirm that there were no errors in the production. Reluctantly, I licked it to partially confirm the physical properties of the thing I had just created, and it certainly felt the salinity. Most methods of identifying synthesized substances are possible with chemical analysis methods that have been established since ancient times. However, there is a limit to what I can say immediately at this point. It cannot be used in actual combat. What about the eye examination? Then, when I activated the examining eye, my vision sharpened and I could see through Clara's body. There is no particular change in the perception of the eyes or the visual field. The magnified vision of the right hand is still alive. There is no problem with the material generation, the diagnostic eye and the magnifying glass. In other words, only the material deletion has been removed. If it is stolen, I will try to take it back, but even if I get the medicine god's crest back, it may not restore the ability to erase matter. Apart from that, if the medicine god's crest on his right upper arm were erased rather than stolen, the medicine god's crest would be lost forever. What caught Falma's eye was not just that. The situation continues to deteriorate. Divinity is decreasing. Falma realized that the divine power that filled his body was dwindling. And for the first time after coming to this world, he became aware of the existence of a vessel that could fill his own divine power. It would be impossible to quantify this amount with a divinity meter, but there was certainly a bottom, and Falma realized that his divinity was finite. My divine power, which I thought was infinite, was secured for the first time through the possession of 2 Yakujan crests. There is only one medicinal crest left, but according to the information gathered by the temple, it is the normal condition for successive patron deities to have only one sacred crest. Thinking about it this way, one may think that the medicine god was originally a tutelary deity that only supported the creation or elimination of matter. Even if it is just returning to its original state, the loss of material elimination still hurts. Yakushi-sama, your complexion doesn't look good. Do you have a stomachache? Clara looks at me with concern. I don't know, my stomach hurts too. Maybe something went wrong. There are other things to consider. There is a possibility that Maline can take away or erase the other crest of the medicine god left behind in Falma. When and at what time? I remembered if Maline had stolen my right medicine god crest, but I can't remember the time for that. It was negligent of me to contact her negligently. Could it be that Clara San's ability to materialize images was used to remove the Yakujan crest? The question arises as to what principle it is based on, but I'll leave it aside for now. Or is it similar to how I lifted the curse of His Holiness so that it took possession of the Yakushinman? But what if there was such a thing as a cursed vein? Falma's thoughts began to get confused. For now, we should give up trying to reclaim medicine god crest and distance ourselves from Maline. If even the material creation is sealed off, we will be completely stuck. In the worst case, their abilities would be gradually stripped from them and they could be tortured to death without being able to return from the continent. Perhaps because Falma was frozen, Clara asked sheepishly. What's wrong? It seems that Maline has sealed part of her divine arts. Hey, is it like losing your nerve? Is there such a method? Falma never saw his own lineage. Not even Ellen could diagnose Falma's veins. However, I can imagine a hypothesis that Maline could see Falma's veins, close them, and switch to herself. At that moment, Falma trembled with her power. Clara opened her mouth with difficulty while looking at Falma with a worried look. However, it was taken. At least I have a feeling it won't be returned on this trip. Clara, who enjoys the protection of the traveling god, never misses the prophecies on her journeys. Falma accepted Clara's prophecy and thought it was serious. A revelation came out that the recapture of Yakushinman would surely end in failure. If so, give up altogether. I understand. Clara San's curse can be suppressed with medicine for a while, so let's stop looking for Maline. It's fine to decide to retreat, but it would be extremely difficult to take Clara and escape from the cave without erasing the material. Both of them are in prison. Unlike material creation, material elimination is a destructive and absolute ability. Especially when used against the human body, it can be said to be almost invincible. Calm down, she should not be able to use it even if she is removed from matter. Falma regained her composure. There are 2 limitations to her access to erasing matter. One is the lack of divine power. She should not be able to use divine arts because she cannot have mythology. The other is the inability to specify the name of the matter required for matter elimination. The ability to erase matter has vague control compared to matter generation and does not require memory of molecular structures, which is essential for matter generation. Nevertheless, it is an ability that will not activate unless you clearly understand the nature of the object. It shouldn't be able to use matter erasure if it can. Is it just water? As he thought this, a quiet, muffled thought shook Falma's mind. There are 2 prisoners now, aren't there? The barricades in front of me were removed one by one, and dust flew up. On the other side, before the glow of the torch, Liken appeared. The girl Falma thought he should do everything in his power to avoid contact. With the natives in tow and the spirits at her side, Liken gave Clara a sharp look full of resentment. If you rebel, you will only die. I should have told you. Liken's words were conveyed to Falma by the spirit who was subordinate to her. Hey. It's impossible. Although Clara had been driven away, she could not move, perhaps because she had recoiled from Liken's intimidating feeling. Falma steps between them and protects Clara. It seems that discipline is still lacking. I have to let my body understand until I give up. Liken explained to Falma and Clara with a hateful undertone. I heard from her what happened until now. I apologize for being rude earlier. If you can understand the language, can we talk? I have heard that we have driven away the spirits of your precious ancestors. Falma is trying to negotiate. He thought that if he could skillfully use the plague tree, a spell that has the property of summoning spirits, he might be able to summon the spirits of his ancestors again. As there is no need for discussion, I have no interest in buying time. Liken rejects Falma's suggestion through her mind. I can see you are in a hurry, but is this what you were looking for? She stretched out her right hand and released her clenched palm. What looked like small red thunders with bright flashes. A short distance from her palm, it is drawn into her palm and discharges violently. Illuminated by this ominous red light, Liken sparkled at Falma and the others. Is this the Yakujan crest that was stolen and transformed? Falma had seen something like this in the news only once on Earth. It is called red sprite and is a luminescence phenomenon that occurs in the upper layers and accompanies the discharge phenomenon of thunderclouds. Although she was stunned, Clara made a frightened face as if she sensed Falma staring at the red thunder. Falma noticed Clara's fear and made her take a step back. Human fear makes evil spirits stronger. When Liken uses spirits, it's like sending salt to her enemies. Clara-san, step back a little, don't worry and don't move there. No, I'll fight too. Clara takes a deep breath. I feel happy, but I don't want my attention to be diverted even a little. Falma called for Liken again and asked him not to move from there. I will ask you to return it. Even if you have it, it's not only useless, it's even more harmful. What is it? Do you mean the root of nothingness? Liken showed Falma the red thunder as a show-off. I see. Liken knows about it, doesn't she? The fact that it has a name means that there is another legend on this continent related to the Holy Crest. Falma responded to her words while imagining something. I don't know the name, but that's it. Ritarika, the root of nothingness that resides in the Supreme Sorcerer, erases everything that rebels against the spirits of the ancestors. It is essential for survival. For what purpose is the root of nothingness used? Above all, the fact that the ability to erase matter is essential for survival eludes Falma's understanding. Material creation is still understandable. Material creation is the ability to bring enormous wealth when you focus on things like precious metals. But I don't know how to use it to remove substances limited to water. The best I can think of is if it prevents floods or is used for flood control. Is there anything you want to talk about? For 200 years, since the root of nothingness was lost, our clan has been suppressed in caves. Don't return it to the hands of the invaders. Clara, hearing this, quietly warned Falma. Yakushi-sama. While I was held captive, I heard about it from the residents here. But it seems that some of the natives here have supernatural powers that are different from divine powers called spells, and they can use spells with spells have tattoos. Thank you, this information is helpful. Falma obediently accepted the information, although he was surprised by Clara's last-minute cross-cultural communication skills. If you look closely, most of the people behind her, including Liken, have tattoos. The 3 people she was following also seemed to be wizards. How do they get magical powers? Is there such a thing as a vein of cursing that corresponds to this divine vein? Falma prepared the staff of the medicine god and again focused his eyes on them. Around Maline's heart there is a lesion that looks blue. He must be suffering from heart disease or something. However, I can't see anything that seems to correspond to the curse vein. Concerned about taking away the medicine deity crest on his left arm and the ability to create material that is there, he made the medicine deity staff crystal stone lose a little of its divine power. The stored divine power acts like a battery, and even if the divine power is depleted, divine arts can still be used. Even if the divine power in her body suddenly disappeared, she could at least defend herself with a divine spell formation. Falma tested his abilities and prepared for the effects that would come.